Hi guys. I had the day off from work today, and my flatmate just came home from her trip, so we haven't seen each other in like 9 weeks. And she just said to me, "I'm going to my bedroom to unpack and think about what I'm going to do, what steps I'm going to do next, and like her 5 year plan or her, like where she's going." uh, because she just got offered jobs in Australia. So she has some soul searching to do about what she wants to do. This house is up for renewal in October, so I just said to her if she can let me know by then, that'd be great. But I've been thinking a little bit. I went on the dating site again. So far, nothing has happened. I've liked a few people, but that as far as it goes. A few people have liked me, but I can't see them, so we obviously are not. I haven't liked them back. You have to pay to see who likes you, unless you both like each other, and then that's when it starts. Anyway, so I started that last night. And it almost seems like it can't go to a certain amount of time, like it shuts off in the evening, because it took me ages to verify who I was. Interesting enough, I'm pretty sure that the guy who what is it? Whatever, who scammed me, um, catfished me, was actually on that site. Pretty sure, going by the same name, different pictures. Um, so I have actually reported him, so hopefully it was him, because otherwise I've just reported somebody for catfishing. Anyway, so I was thinking about my 5 year plan, and I'm thinking about a little bit. It came up on the dating site as well as a question. And I don't think I've ever done anything about like where I envision myself in 5 years. I am trying my hardest to be able to do online learning to do primary school now. Just had a talk with one of my friends who was higher up in my job, and she is younger than I am, but she's doing a role that is higher than me. But she's my friend, and so I just said to her, like, am I going to get a pay rise? Is there anything for a pay rise for other people? So they've got a higher rank that there's up to step 11. There was nothing for head teachers, so they have put steps in place for people who are in leadership. But for people who are not in leadership, there is no higher steps than pay priority. And I said to her, well, I don't know about you, but I know for myself, like, I've got another 25 years left in this industry. Um, and it's funny because I have a friend at work who's doing affiliate marketing, and she's like, there's no way I'm staying in this for 25 years. I'm not working that long. But I envision myself to be working till I'm 65. That's fine. That's what everybody has had to do in our lives. So I see that for me. But I don't see myself in early childhood, especially if I can't get a raise. And so she was like, no, you're on the highest step that you can get. There's no more. And I was like, well, then I'm going to end up walking, because there's no reason to stay in the job that I'm in if I'm not going to, especially when I'm not fully satisfied. Look, I heard something today that did say, you're satisfied if you enjoy working with the people that you are with. And majority, I do love working with the people I am with. Majority, I do love working with the children that I'm with. But being on the floor 8 hours a day with children, with the amount of 35 to 43 children a day, yes, there's 5 or 6 of us teachers, but it is hard work, and especially with 4-year-olds or 0-year-olds or 1-year-olds or 2-year-olds or 3-year-olds or 4-year-olds. I never envisioned this. When you look at my grade 8 yearbook, it says I want to be a kindergarten teacher. There's no such thing as a kindergarten teacher here. A kindy teacher here, or kindergarten teacher here, is actually still early childhood. And actually, they do less teaching than what I do in my Be School Ready program. Unfortunately, I only get to do my Be School Ready program for once every 6 weeks or once every 5 weeks, 4 week. It's hard work. It is, if you do it right, it is up to 15 mat times and it in a week, and it is also 5 lesson plans of either 40 minutes to an hour. It's a lot of work, and you are pretty much on your own with between 10 and 15 kids. It's a lot of work, but I actually love it. That's the part I love the most. And I've always loved that aspect of doing writing and, ABCs and 1, 2, 3s, some basic science, some basic art. I am programmed to be a primary school teacher. And for me, kindergarten, when I was in grade 8, kindergarten at home in North America is in the education system. It is teaching them the ABCs. It's teaching them the 1, 2, 3s. I was promised with this degree that I could get into that, which is why I did this degree. My grammar is not good. Most people who read text from me will say that to you. My grammar is not good. My math is not amazing. I can do basic science. My geography is awful. I can do basic physical education and health. I can do basic music, but I can't even read music. So, yeah, I'm not exactly sure. But in the year 1 and year 2 here, you don't have to do heaps of that. It's just a little bit of that. And so I wanted to get into the early entrance year 1. I was promised I could do that with my degree. Unfortunately, it seems that it's plausible that New Zealand has maybe just passed something to say that we no longer can teach in the early entrance, or we can teach in the early entrance, but most schools want you to have a primary school degree. And the reason for that is because they want you to move up into other areas. Maybe they don't want you to get stagnant. I don't know. But they don't want you teaching one age group for ages. They want to be able to give that flexibility. So I might be teaching year 3s or year 5s, or I don't know if I could teach year 5s. Year 3s would probably be a stretch, but I mean, at least it would mean that I could do a few years or the 8 years if I needed to, if I got this degree. Anyways, I was looking into it, and it was telling me that I could only do it all in school, which I obviously don't have the money to do. Unfortunately, as a single, I do not have the money. I can get a student loan, I can get a student allowance, but the student allowance is only about $400 a week, and you only get that when school is in. You don't get it when school's out. Over the summer vacation or whatever. And $400 a week won't actually cover all my expenses. I probably need about $450 to $500, and that would cover all my expenses and give me $0 for anything else. So I went to Wynn's, which is the local place, and they actually said they couldn't help me. And then when I said, I was very disappointed because they need teachers, and I would only need to do 1 year, and I could then be a teacher. And I was really disappointed that I was promised I could do this degree, but then I've been turned down twice for jobs in the early entrance, and this is what I've been told why. And I've talked to a couple other teachers who are actually in the industry, and they've all said the same thing. So they did say that I might be able to get accommodation supplement and a financial support supplement, but I know it's not much. But if I could get it, that would really help. Anyway, somehow I just typed it in today, and they said that I might be able to do it online. So I've got a hold of the Auckland Uni to try to see if I can do it online. There will be 2 practicums of 7 weeks each, but if I can work my 4 days and then have 1 day to do my schooling at home, and I could save up, and sometimes I could do 5 days, especially, yeah, sometimes I could do 5 days or whatever. And I would just have to be really good with my money so that I save for that 7 weeks. Or I might even be able to go to WINS for that 7 weeks. And just say that I can't work for 7 weeks. I don't know. I'd have to look into that as well. But it's more doable, obviously. It's about $8,000, I think it was. So it's not too bad of a student loan. I could pay that off pretty quickly. And obviously I get paid more because I'm in the school system. I only have to be on the floor. I think it's something like 30 hours. It's 5 hours a day with kids. 9 to 3. You still normally work like at 7:30 to 5 or 8:30 to 5 or whatever. You still normally work 8.5 hours, but you don't have kids the whole time because you have to do your planning and assessment, obviously. So yeah, that is part of my 5 year. I see myself as a teacher. I see myself doing an awesome job as a teacher. And I am, like, I'm not fully manifesting. I mean, I'm my own worst nightmare. Like, I can see the flaws. I can see the things I cannot do well when it comes to teaching. But that is my passion. That is my desire, to be able to just, yeah, to be able to teach kids in that capacity. Like, I love it. I absolutely love it. I've got a passion for it. And I just really want to be in the school system. It also gives me 6 weeks of annual leave, which helps for me going home. That's 6 weeks at Christmas, and then you normally get like a week. You normally get another couple weeks. Yeah, you get at least 6 weeks annual leave. Right now I only get 4 weeks. Yes, it would mean that going home at winter, which is not ideal. I think I've said some of this before, but yeah, I'm looking into it. That is my 5-year plan. My 5-year plan is to get this degree out of the way, to finish that degree, and to be teaching, to have a couple years of teaching under my belt so that I can then go and buy a house. My goal is to have a house. A 2-bedroom, a 3-bedroom, I don't care. I'm hoping for a 3-bedroom because I'm also hoping that in the next 5 years I will get married again. And I am manifesting a child. I can see myself as a mom, whether it's a stepmom or biological mom, but a mom in some capacity. There is this little tiny mustard seed of faith and hope that is what God has in store for me. I really believe that I am meant to be a parent in some shape or form. And it's not to a child that does not belong in my house. It is to a child that is in my house. I don't know how it's going to happen. I don't know what God's big plan is, but that is part of the plan. To have another husband, to have a house and a home, and to have a child. And to have a cat. I'm going to have a cat. And I know that sounds the silliest thing, but my 5-year plan does have a cat. Yeah. Do I see myself in Auckland 5 years from now? Truthfully, no. I am up for moving anywhere. Do I want to move again for a guy? Not necessarily. Has the pros outweighed the negatives in this situation for moving for a guy? Absolutely. But I do have a good support system right now. Do I think this support system is always going to be there? I don't know, because life changes, people change, people move away. And I could very well be one of those people. I have never wanted to live back in Auckland. The cost of living in Auckland is one of the highest in all of New Zealand. To buy a house, to groceries, for fuel, for rights and tax, rights, all of that is higher here in New Zealand. It is in Auckland, sorry, it is a much faster pace of life than other places that are smaller. Um, and therefore, I would love one of the places that I would actually always consider moving would be Hamilton. I don't really know anybody in Hamilton, but Hamilton. Um, yes, I've always loved Rotorua. I would love to go back to Rotorua, but I don't want to be part of the Best Start company, so it makes it tricky. But yeah, that is part of my 5 year plan, to be teaching, to have completed my 1 year of studies, to do at least 2 years of teaching in that time. Um, and I've heard the first year is really, really tough. Um, to have a husband, to have a child, to have a cat, to have a house. Those are my goals for the next 5 years. And I want to travel. I am determined that in the next 5 years, I am getting to Queenstown. I'm hoping to do Queenstown next year. I'm still hoping to go to Africa. My nephew was just here last week. Was just here the other day, and he was talking about us going to Africa in 2025. Obviously, I still need to go home in 2025 or 2026 whenever my cousin is getting married. Let me know. And I'd love to go to Hawaii. I definitely want to go to Disney World again. Do I know if that'll happen in the next 5 years? I don't know. Depends on whether or not that child that I have is a child of my own, which then it would not be old enough, or if it's a child that over the age of 10 that I could take to Disney World and it would be amazing. That's a stepchild. So that would depend on that. Definitely need to get to Australia again. Gold Coast, I love the Gold Coast. Would even think about moving to Australia. There's more money there in early childhood anyways. I've said that previously. With the other guy I was thinking of that catfished me. So Hawaii, Disney World, trip home, Gold Coast. Love to go back to Rarotonga. Want to make some new memories there. Yeah, I've got a lot I want to do and see, and I don't see myself staying right here in this place. Yeah. Do I see my driver's license in the next 5 years? No. I actually really don't want to drive. My eyesight is worse, and my anxiety is worse. I just don't. My spatial awareness is worse. I just really don't want to. I really don't want to. And what else do I see myself doing? Okay, so if I'm in the teaching field as a teacher, I think I'm going to have to do my 4 days. My 5 days. I'm going to have to work 5 days a week. But at least it's not 5 days a week with kids the whole time. It's only kids half the time, or a little over half of the time. If I stay in early childhood, which I really don't see myself doing, I have already been in this field now in this country. I came into this country in October 2005, and I relieved from October 2005 till September 2006. I started full-time in this position in 2007. So I have already done 18 years, or almost 18 years in October, of working in early childhood. Is that about right? No. I came into this country when I was 24. And now I'm 43. Almost 43. So yeah, 18 years. Yeah, 18 years. Or something. Yeah, roughly around 18 years. So that's a long time to already be working with a sector of 0 to 5. Emotionally, it is draining. Um, and it gets harder and harder, and different things are triggering me, um, inside and outside the center. Um, so, yeah, I really don't want to be in this industry for that long period of time. I always thought I would already be in primary. Um, yeah, should I have done primary first? Maybe. But even then, primary, even back then, was like 2 or 3 days a week in school, and the rest, like, it would have been really hard for me to do. It would have been harder for me to do primary then, when I definitely couldn't study. I mean, couldn't work full time, because there was so much stuff I was going through at that point in time. I couldn't actually do it. And I never actually thought to do it, because I always just thought that I would have my own children, and then I would be with them at work, which makes sense, so that I didn't have to pay as much in childcare fees. Like, that was the plan. But the plan changed. And it would change again. If I got into teaching and I loved it, and I ended up falling pregnant and having a baby, I would put my child in daycare. I would put my child in a small daycare, maybe a home-based one, where there's only 4 or 5 children and there's lots of opportunity to get out and about. That's quite possibly what I would do. Or in a small daycare of only like 30 kids. And yeah, or something. I don't know at this point in time. But yeah, that is my 5-year plan, go to speak. So I just thought I would share it with you and hold myself accountable to it. The other thing, I guess I see myself in 5 years, I see myself getting back into going to church. I do. I know that I need this. I know that I need to get over. And I just don't know if I can do it right here where I am right now. So if I have to move, I might then find another church. That could be the opening. That could be the reason if I have to move from this place. But I don't know. But I do know in my 5-year plan is to have a church family again. Is to be able to go to a church that has this amazing worship that you can just feel God in every fiber of it. And a scripture that is firmly based in scripture. Sermons that are scripture based. And just a family, a church family that actually cares about each and every single one person who's at that church, and anybody who comes in the door, with a magnificent children's program and a magnificent women's program, and an amazing home group, because home group is where I thrive more on. Yeah, just a place where I can be authentic and real, and get over the stigma of being divorced, and get over the stigma of not having any kids right now, and not having a husband, and just finding a church where, regardless of whether I'm with a partner or I'm not with a partner, I can feel loved and valued for who I am right now as a woman and child of God. And I will leave you with that. That is where I see myself in the next 5 years. Good night.